Alright everyone, welcome back to Automotive Anime. Today we're not going to be washing the wheels, and the reason we're not is because I need to wash the engine bay. It was really dusty, man. Really dusty. There was a little bit of oil spilling out from the oil cap, and I ended up getting a quick little AutoZone, O'Reilly I should say, cap, so I can just stop that a leak. And then I noticed that I had neglected the engine bay for a while, so decided to do that quick little wash, and so hence why the video is a little longer than usual. But then it was the second car that I was watching that day, and so I knew that light was gonna be there only for, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes, an hour. And so I figured, let's figure this out first, and then I can tackle the wheels some other day. But just want to say big thank you to all of you, because the videos have come out and serve their purpose, these watch and talks, and they serve for two different reasons. Number one, it's supposed to be a way for me to share my thoughts on different topics. And I've always said it, and I'll repeat it to you guys, I'm not 100% right all the time. I don't proclaim to be 100% right all the time, because I'm not. The reality is that I'm not. And even when I share a story or a comment, I think most of you guys are very mature and smart enough to know that I'm looking at it through my lens. And so this is where the comment section is available for you guys, and welcome to share your point of view, specifically and especially if you disagree. If you do it in a proper, respectful manner, then yes, I get to see it through your lens, because we're all different. And I think that's the beautiful part about it. Messing with my neighbor, he was fixing his BMW. He's like, "Hey, are you gonna wash mine?" I'm like, "I don't wash junkyard cars." But yeah, man. Today's topic is gonna be a topic that it came out of nowhere. And again, this is going to be a topic that is not going to be one way per se. There's going to be people that are going to completely disagree, completely agree. There's going to be people that right away go into the whatever card. And so this is what happened. I believe it was on Sunday. My wife and I decided to go to Home Depot to get some paint, because she's painting her frames and some other stuff for her office at work. And so on the way back, I was like, dude, I'm craving fruit. And there's these little stands, street vendor that posts us up by this certain community. And on the way back home, so we went and we got some fruit. While we're waiting, he's cutting my wife's coconut. I see this individual do like this really fast U-turn, and I look inside the car, and he's yelling. He had his windows up, so I wasn't sure what he was yelling, but he was yelling. Now, I didn't have my phone with me. My wife did, though, because she was like she was doing something while we were waiting for her coconut and then my fruit. And I looked at my wife and I said, "What's up with that guy? He's trying to order while..." This is my naive thinking. He's trying to order while doing a U-turn. Like, wait, and my wife just kind of like, stood quiet. She didn't say anything. And then, I'm looking at the guy cut my fruit, and this gentleman, sorry about the water spot, by the way. It goes away after like 8 minutes. Excuse me. The gentleman comes out, and this, I want to say he was Caucasian, so white, older gentleman. He's yelling, "This is not Tijuana." And for those that may not know, Tijuana is a city in Mexico. We're obviously not in Mexico, we're in California. And at that point, my wife started recording. She was like, I don't know, she was quick to think like, okay, this guy doesn't look like he's gonna order fruit. I think this guy comes with a negative attitude or a negative energy. And so she starts recording. The guy comes out, says it one time, says it a second time. That's when my wife started recording, and says, "This is not Tijuana. You can't just have the sign. That sign is illegal. It's violating county codes or something along the lines. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking like, oh, this is not happening, not in front of me. And the vendor, he just said okay. And so my wife was recording him, and then he looks at her and he's like, "Are you recording me?" And my wife was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, we're recording you." So his tone completely changed. He was like, "Well, I don't think that sign is legal to begin with. I feel like that's not legal." So I said, "Well, take it up to the city. Take it to the city, because apparently you have nothing else better to do." You know, he just kind of stood quiet. Like, obviously the camera threw him off. The fact that maybe he didn't think none of us spoke English or whatever threw him off. I said, take it up to the city because apparently you have nothing else better to do. And you know, he's like, well, yeah, but I'm just saying that I'm like, yeah, well, this is not, you know, there's proper ways of doing it, and this is definitely not it. And in the moment, I told him, just you can't just come and say this is not Tijuana. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, you're stereotyping, like. So I stereotyped back. I said, this is not Alabama. You can't just come and yell, like you please, and tell people what to do. Now, let me, big parentheses, big shout out to my homies from Alabama. That's just the very first thing I thought. And again, this is where I said this is not going to be a one-sided. You're definitely going to have different, emotions and thoughts. I know our buddy Rob from Canada. From Canada, he's more on the conservative side, and he respectfully always has, stated on the comments, and I really appreciate him. I really like chatting with him. I'm not super in the conservative side. I'm not definitely on the democratic liberal side. Definitely not. So I think I'm more of a middle type of person, more like common sense. That's what I like to think. But obviously, my point of view, my beliefs are gonna be based on my personal experience, and so yours are gonna be the same exact. And so I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right. That's just the way it is. But I think the most important part is to come to an agreement, listen, and try and understand the other point of view. I wasn't disrespectful to the gentleman. I didn't start cussing because I feel like even if you're right, the minute you start yelling your voice, the tone of your voice, and you start cussing, you look uneducated, and you're really losing any what is that word? I forgot the word. Legitimacy. Seriousness, I guess you would think. You just don't look good, when you're yelling "F you, man," blah blah blah. Even if you're right, I just like, oh, why go there? So I did tell that guy this is not Alabama, and what I meant by that, and obviously, people really thought. I ended up posting this video, and the reason why I posted this video, I'll get to that as well. I said to the gentleman, this is not Alabama. You can just come and tell them, what to do. They have permits, and that was the main reason why I said Alabama. That's just the first state that I thought that, I guess wouldn't give permits. Again, me stereotyping, not the best, not my brightest moment, like I mentioned, but I just kind of want to hit them back with the Tijuana. I took offense to it, like Hispanics, fruit stands, okay, you could have, so. He ended up, kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to call the county. I said, well, good, do it, just don't waste your own time. And then he was like, okay, I get what you're coming from. I respect that. And I said, well, thank you very much. I said, you have to do it through the proper channels. Otherwise, this is not going to end well. Like, you're just yelling and it's nothing's going to get right, or, you're not going to fix your issue, whatever that may be. I ended up turning on the car just to make sure that the car will turn on. And so the camera cut off, but me and him, we still had a little exchange for like 30 more seconds. Nothing negative, nothing rude, because he didn't. The end of the video says, well, what's next? Are we going to have 3 more carts of fruits or food or whatever? We're going to have signs. And I said, look, I understand your frustration, and I do. Even though we're all in the city of Orange, that's where I live. I understand your frustration. It's not a good look for you. It doesn't bother me, but again, going back to, we come from different backgrounds, so therefore we have different experiences. All I said is, go to your site, city council, and all this was off camera. I don't know, for whatever reason my wife stopped recording, or She figured like, okay, we're not gonna get into an altercation. This guy's respectful, and I think that was her mind. And again, it wasn't like we're trying to record to, oh, let's get this racist guy, or let's get this guy. No. It was just a matter of like protecting ourselves, because you just never know. There's been a lot of stuff going on here in Cali, especially in LA, with vendors getting assaulted, and we want to protect ourselves too. In case I needed to get physical with anybody, then at least we can show like, hey, like, this is not, it wasn't us, or this is maybe the case. Some people love to start problems just to record people in bad situations. I can assure you guys that that's not what I want. I don't want that negative attention towards me, especially in the line of work that I do. So anyways, I told the guy, I completely understand your frustration. I think you should definitely go to your site city council meetings. You should definitely get a petition signed by your neighbors, and then take it to the city, and hopefully you get, maybe it's not even the sign, like you remove this guy from this corner, whatever the case may be, right? Legally, through the civil manner, instead of doing dangerous U-turns and potentially hitting somebody. He was also blocking an intersection lane. And he was like, no, I get you, I understand, thank you for that. And I say, you have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, man. Just don't waste it on this type of things. If this is the worst part of your day, the sign, then we're both very blessed. And he was, no, I agree. So he was very respectful, and then he got in his car and he left. And I turned back to the vendor. I say, muchas gracias, thank you very much. I give him the money, and we leave. And then on the way home, I was still kind of thinking about the whole situation. And I told my wife, I feel guilty for talking to the gentleman like that. I don't know. I feel bad. I'm not big on confrontations. I'm too old for that, man. I don't. Some people love to, get drunk and pick fights. I'm not into that. I'll defend myself, but I'm not. That's not my number one goal in life. And she said, well, why do you feel guilty? I said, I don't know. I feel guilty because I wasn't disrespectful. I didn't cuss him out. I didn't intimidate him. Obviously, he's older. Like, that's not, I don't know. I guess that's just my mentality. She goes, okay, so let me walk you through this. So he felt entitled to do a U-turn, yell at the guy, mandate whatever he wanted without even really, knowing if he was right or wrong. Like, for instance, we mentioned he started with, you are violating county, laws. And then as soon as he saw the camera, he's like, well, I feel like this is not legal. So it was two different things, and I get it. And prior to that, in that same corner, there used to be some lady that used to sell flowers, and she's no longer there. I think I know why. Now, so that was that case, right? And I told her, I feel bad. She goes, no, like, that's not appropriate. We often see people, minimize other people, and there's just hardworking people that are trying to make a living. Anyways, we went back and forth, and I said, I'm gonna post it. I think it's important for others to speak up, and obviously through a peaceful manner. So I did, and it got picked up by a few big pages. I didn't tag anybody. I just posted it. I didn't, I hope this goes viral. Like, no, it's not something that I want. And this is exactly my next point. It's not something that I wanted to go so public, because of the type of people that come in. And what I mean by the type of people, I'm not saying people that disagree with me. No, I'm saying close-minded people in general, in both sides. Like, one of them was like, man, you should knock that guy out. I said, no, like, no one should get knocked out. That's not what we're here for. Like, that's not how you get things solved. And I was responding to those things like, that's not appropriate. And then one that really upset me, and it's sad that I guess this gentleman, it's through a fake account, or not a fake account, but like one of those dummy accounts. He only had like 4 followers, and it's private and things. And so frijolito means bean. And for those that you may not know, Mexicans, I don't know, we beans, or we're brown, or whatever they like to call us, beaners, frijoles, frijolitos, whatever. So this guy left a pretty rude comment. He just said, this I get the gentleman's point of view. Where I live, there's more street vendors and homeless now. these frijolito things that he can just post his fruit stand in each corner, comma build the wall. And and I was like, okay. So I just responded with, this is the type of mentality that scares me. No, this is the type of ignorant mentality that scares me. And he responded with, like, if you don't like it, frijolito, go back to Tijuana. And then in another comment, he said, why so ignorant? I'm saying to pay taxes. I'm saying to pay, just like everybody else, abides by the law. How's that this guy can just, live without paying taxes and have his stands while other companies have to do it, blah, blah, blah. So I just responded, it sounds like by your comments, you'd rather have more homeless than, street vendors. Now, aside from that, obviously there was a lot of people that were like, oh, I'm glad you came to the vendors, stands or whatever. Let me just dissect this whole conversation. And if you're still tuning in, and obviously you have like your own, like, like, let me type my own opinion. I completely respect where you're coming from, but let me explain something to you guys. And this is to the best of my knowledge. Okay, a couple myths that I kind of want to, street vendors here, especially. I'm gonna speak on Orange County. Okay, I'm not gonna speak on California because it's gonna be different from somebody in Bakersfield, and somebody from San Diego, and somebody from San Francisco. I'm going to speak on Orange County. This is where we live. Historically, they could not sell. That was street vendors. Any type of street vendor you could not sell. And so, these vendors or mobile vendors would have to, I guess, hide from the police. Otherwise, all their material will be thrown away, literally thrown away in the street. And they would be arrested and potentially, any other matters that the officer wanted to do. So obviously they would get fined. I've heard even other consequences. And so that was historically. There's been advocates. Now, whether you're on the yes, cool, that's cool for them, or you're more on the no, why should they have advocates, blah blah blah. Look, that's besides the point. What I'm saying is there's been advocate, they're able to now have their stance. Again, this is talking to my knowledge, and I'm not 100% right or wrong, but this is what I'm sharing. To my knowledge, they still now have to. All they did was buy a permit. Again, the government, the city, they just want their money. It's not so much about they used to play it like, well, you can't sell because of health. You're not abiding by the health laws, and so the safety protocols. I get it, but I'm gonna provide a very I don't know if it's inappropriate, but pretty out there example. Prostitution. I don't think people really, and by people, the government, I don't think the government really cares about your well-being or your health decisions. More like that individual, the lady or the male who are engaging in that type of activity or work, they're not paying taxes. I think that's the major issue. It's not so much that they care so much about your health, because if they really care about your health, then they would not let you eat McDonald's. McDonald's is extremely unhealthy, and so that's my opinion, but I could be wrong. You guys, please, have a comment to add. And so that's kind of what I was thinking. Well, okay, he has a permit, because if he didn't have a permit, by the way, I left the camera like that just so you guys can see my little movement. I'm so ninja. If he did not have a permit, there's so many police officers that pass by, they would move him in a heartbeat. They wouldn't care about the sign. It would be like, this is illegal, and boom. But obviously they've gotten protocols, they got trainings, they got debriefing. Hey, you can no longer do this to street vendors, blah blah blah. Whether they like it, whether you agree, disagree, that's what's going on. And so yeah, he obviously has the right to be there one way or another. And if he doesn't, guess what? Call the police, and the police will be the ones who can follow up and say, oh yeah, but not you, who just thought that you're king of the world and you can just do a U-turn and tell somebody how to run their business. Most likely, I'm just guessing again, most likely this gentleman already called the police and they said there's nothing we can do, and so now he's just complaining about the sign. Tomorrow's going to be about the color of the shoes of the vendor. Tomorrow's going to, so it's always going to be something, because obviously he can't move him from that corner, and I think he's just trying to intimidate him and make him feel bad or whatever until he moves, right? And so that's a big piece of it, okay? Now, some of you guys and some of the comments were, well, they don't pay taxes. The rest of us have to pay taxes. Why don't they pay taxes? Look, I cannot speak on an individual, person who pays taxes or not. All I can tell you is they have to pay sales taxes for the fruit that they buy. There's no way around it. They pay it somewhere or somehow because the people they buy it from have to pay that. Um, I don't know what my neighbor said, but I just kind of said, haha, yes. And then, yeah. And so they do pay taxes in some other manners, right? Now, you may be wondering, well, there you go, Gus. That's the problem that you don't know. I'm just checking if the camera's still recording, of course. I'm just going to take a guess and say that we don't know the tax situation on everyone. Right now, there's a shortage of employment because people don't want to go to work because some people are getting benefits from the government. They also work under the table, cash. They're not paying taxes on that. And they're citizens, they're residents. And there you go. Again, there's so much to it. Another example would be, what about the people that just stand outside the freeway entrances? Here in Cali is very common. And I'm not going to say it's only whites, it's only blacks, it's only Hispanics. Now, there's people just generally, and people that are just asking for money with a little sign. There's also people that are selling flowers at the exit of the freeway. I'm most likely going to buy, flowers to give them money than just because you have a sign that says I need help. And that's just my personal belief. And again, you are more than welcome to disagree. Do those people pay taxes on the people that, they give money like that? So there's obviously so much, like we can get into that whole little who pays taxes, who doesn't. I don't want to get into that game because I don't know. We have, I'll give another, controversial topic or example. The last president we had, his taxes, he didn't want to release his taxes for whatever reason for the longest. Then, they were leaked or whatever you want to call them. It shows that he was using the legal loopholes or the legal whatever you want to call it to not pay as many taxes because the way he was running his business, there was a lot of money that he was losing, and so he wasn't paying taxes. He percentage wise he wasn't paying the percentage that you and I are paying, percentage ones, again, percentage. But again, he also had other expenses that we don't know about that he was spending on. So going back to that, Amazon. Everybody was always talking about Amazon doesn't pay taxes and this and this and that. And I don't know. All I know that you see reports and you're like, well, you made $1 billion. You should pay this amount, but they didn't because they did, legally they went through their loopholes. And so if you really want to get technical, I think everybody at one point is trying to save money. And I don't blame them for that. I really legitimately don't blame them. And so that was the other argument, like I mentioned, that people were having an issue as to the street vendor being there. And so why do I tell you guys this story? I tell you guys this story because I myself have been, I'm not going to use the word victim, but I've been in those situations where somebody has belittled me based on the color of my skin color. And it's been different scenarios, different things. I've given you guys examples of encounters with police officers. That's why I'm always I'm always respectful. I'm not gonna spend my time trying to argue anybody, and people specifically when I used to be in school that were rude. Not so much now. And so I've been on that point, where somebody just yells at me and I don't know the language, so I'm like, what am I supposed to say? And so that's why I felt compelled to say something in a respectful manner. And I was being legitimate. Like, if this guy doesn't like this street vendor, then he needs to go to his city council and bring this up. Like, that's the proper way to do it. And then obviously some closed-minded people that their go-to is build a wall. It's like, it just shows you're ignorant, in my personal opinion. And it's not, if there's somebody out there that's like, oh well, I believe in building the wall, not necessarily that you're ignorant because you believe that. I think the way you come across it, it's my personal view on the way you come anything. If I tell you guys, hey, our courses are so much better, and I'm like being so rude about it, you're gonna be like, dude, it's not coming out right. Even if it's a positive or a negative message, it's not coming out right. It's just you lose credibility. There you go. Credibility was the word I was using before. I was looking for before. And so that was the reason why I wanted to say something to the gentleman, and that's the reason why I also posted it to show other people, like, hey, you can have a discussion with somebody and teach them, like, this is not okay. Like, you can't just be yelling at people like that, specifically that people that you may think that they have no rights or they're undocumented, or whatever you think, that you can just go ahead and do that. Like, that's just not how it works. um, and and if you are sitting there thinking like, well, no, I disagree with you guys, I think that street vendors are not a good look for his community, and that's why he did it. I don't think that they should have that right to be able to just set shop at every corner. I completely understand. I get you. I'm not saying that I love it, but um, I also can admire hard work, and I think that every time I go get some food, I tip them, because I am blessed that I don't have to do that job. I am so grateful that I don't have to do that job, and I'm privileged not to have to do that job. And so that's the reason. That's my point of view, and obviously others are gonna disagree, and that's fine. But I think you can disagree and go about it in a respectful manner. So yeah, I mean, that was the first thing that I thought about. This is not Alabama. So big shout out to my homies from Alabama, or Mississippi, Florida, a little bit more conservative states. I mean, I'm not trying to say you know you guys are racist. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, most likely, if there are a place where you know street vendors or undocumented people or whatever the case may be, don't have as much, uh, you know the word protection, if that is the right word, it would be in those conservative states. And obviously they have their laws there, and I respect that. That's why I actively choose not to live there, and that's okay. That's okay. It's not, I mean, that they're wrong, and that doesn't mean that I'm right. um, but that was the little event that happened over the weekend, and I just wanted to have a discussion with you guys, talk it over with you, so you guys can understand where I was coming from. I don't want to ridicule anybody. I don't ever want to put anybody down. But I think that I also need to stand up for what I believe. And going back to that is based on my lens. Doesn't mean that I'm 100% right. In a peaceful manner. No matter what you do, it has to be in a peaceful manner, because otherwise there's really never going to be something that you're going to be fixing through violence. In the moment, you might win the fight, but you lost. You lost the overall connection or communication or message that you're trying to send. And that's just what it comes down to. And as I'm speaking through this, I have another topic in mind that it will be controversial, to be honest. Like undocumented people, and I'll give you guys a little snippet of what I mean. For many years, there's here, at least I'm going to speak again on California and Orange County, I've come across people more on the conservative side who believe that undocumented people, like let's say street vendors or whoever, I'm just stereotyping because we don't know if they are or they're not. They're stealing people's jobs, and so this is what I've always said, and in a respectful manner. Look, if there's somebody coming here from another different country who doesn't speak the language, who you presume, or maybe he or she is undocumented, and they're taking your job as a citizen or a resident, I think that says more about you. I think you need to get better training. I think you need to do something better with your life, so that way you don't have to worry about competing with jobs with an undocumented individual. Also, if that is the job that you have, don't worry. It seems like the undocumented individual has more drive, more steam, more to fight for. So they're gonna probably outrank you. They're gonna be your supervisors very soon, because obviously it's you who are not getting the proper training. Also, there's a lot of people that are not working right now. Those are the same people that are saying, "Oh, they're stealing our jobs," but nobody wants to go back to work. Like, there's so much money given, by the government, and it's frustrating. So see, again, there's so much, into that conversation. But I wanted to add it at the end, so that way you guys can, maybe if you guys are up for it. I'm not trying to have all negative, videos. I don't think this is negative. It's just not the topic that we're used to. If you guys want to have some more like this, let me know. But I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for allowing me to have a safe space. Yes, I use the same towel for the car and the wheels. Don't kill me, please. I really appreciate you guys for just allowing me to have a safe space, so I can share my thoughts. Yes, there's listeners blue, red, whatever, left or right. I don't care so much about that. I just want to have a healthy conversation with all of you, and I clearly understand that my point of views are not 100% all the time. And I want to be able to engage in a healthy conversation with some of you guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. I do appreciate for you guys sticking with the dark videos. But until next time. Alrighty, another washing talk done. It got dark. That's why I told you guys I wasn't gonna wash the wheels because I didn't want it to get dark. I didn't think it was gonna get this dark this fast. But yeah, she got it done, and I didn't wash the wheels this time. The engine bay was really bad. I need to find an OEM starter. I replaced it with AutoZone 1, and I don't like the way it starts. It feels like a struggle, so I gotta fix those things. But other than that, the car's looking pretty good. Few things that I got planned for, but it's a good neighborhood. Appreciate you guys so much. Peace out.